It's Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com.au, where we help long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomy to improve their quality of life, and where we also help hospitals and intensive care units to save money and resources whilst providing quality care. In last week's blog, I answered your questions about what care is needed for intensive care at home. You can read, watch or listen to last week's blog by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's blog, I want to talk about why an empty intensive care bed is worth some money and creates a more patient and family-centered model of care. Current models of intensive care suggest a traditional approach by discharging patients to the ward. The only exception to that rule currently is that some patients die in intensive care and don't leave intensive care alive. In order to create a better model of care for adults and children who are in need of long-term mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy, we might have to step outside of the traditional intensive care model, and we have to think about what those adults and children with tracheostomy and their families really need. What they generally need besides professional and holistic care is an environment that is more patient and family friendly. Mechanical ventilation with tracheostomy in a home care environment, whether it's for ongoing ventilator dependency, a weaning situation or in an end-of-life situation, can easily be done at home as intensive home care models of care in European countries have shown over and over again. The benefits are evident, and emptying some intensive care beds earlier by looking at home care for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomy is worth some money for intensive care units and their respective hospitals. It's also beneficial for departments of health and private health funds. Home care for patients in need of intensive care nursing is also more cost-effective compared to an expensive intensive care bed with costs up to $5,000 per day in intensive care. It also frees up intensive care beds that can be used for other more acute admissions. It's of course far more patient and family friendly, and it's a proven and successful model of care, as many European countries have shown for more than 15 years now. Intensive care at home is also looking at the bigger picture and creates a win-win situation that takes the needs of all stakeholders into consideration. The good news is that intensive care at home has a care model in place that serves your needs as much as the patients and their families' needs. Talk to us and find out how intensive care at home can help your intensive care units, your patients and your families. I would also like your thoughts and comments. How important do you think it is to provide home care for long-term ventilated adults and children as a genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care? Leave your comments on the blog or send me an email to patrick@intensivecareathome.com.au. You can also contact me on 041 094 2230 if you want to know more about how we can help you, your intensive care unit and your patients and your families. Thank you for tuning into this week's blog. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com.au, and I'll see you again in another update next week.